Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. You know who I am, Mitch behind the cameras. Thank you for joining us. It's a cub day today. You can see I got the engine out of the cub, and I got two sets of piston rings because this thing smokes a lot. It smokes like a two-stroke, unacceptable. And the clutch was slipping, so I got new clutch plates out of England. They look pretty flat, and I think we put in a steel plate first. And see how it's missing one there? So that goes like that. See, it fits nicely. Okay. I only found out I had a clutch that was slipping when I made a longer kickstart lever. I didn't notice it when I rode the bike that I had a slipping clutch, and I didn't notice it on the rollers either. It was just when I used the Kickstarter and I could feel the clutch slip. And that's when I thought, oh, I need to fix that. We'll put a little bit of grease right where the clutch rod goes, right there. I made a tool. This was I used on the Aramaki, and on the Aramaki often the stud comes up inside, so I ground a slot, and this tool works pretty good. I deepen the slot a little bit. I used a diamond file. Now we'll take off the head. I'm interested to see what kind of rings are in there. Because if you watched any of the videos of it firing up outside, there's a lot of smoke. Don't like that. Looks like I'm riding a two-stroke. So we won't do that. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. That helps us too. Okay, that's the inside. Okay, there's the head. There's a little dentist tool. There we go, look at that. Dentist tool's working. Okay, we got all four out now. And there's the combustion chamber, and it's looking kind of black, and that's because there's a lot of oil coming up in there. So we're going to see if we can fix that today. I'm taking off the gasket because the gasket has to be heated up and annealed. We did that last time. We do it every time. You can use these gaskets over and over again unless you damage them somehow. That's pretty neat about a copper gasket. Okay, the rings are all intact. That's good. Here's that wimpy little gasket. What we're going to do is to actually measure the thickness of the gasket. So we'll just peel it off. Well, it doesn't want to come off very well. So this gasket is 6 thou. That's how thick this gasket is. That's not very thick. And the gasket paper that I have is... it's 28 thou, or 20, yeah. It's 28 thou, so it's definitely thicker. It's going to lower the compression ratio a little bit, but that's okay because it's kind of excessive right now. So next thing to do is to take off the piston, because I want to put the piston and the rings into the barrel. Then I'll put it back down, put in the wrist pin. That's the way I want to do it. If you're taking out a circlip, it's always good to take a rag and to put it under here, because the worst thing that can happen is the circlip falls down into the crankcase and it's very hard to get out. Sometimes you have to take the motor apart if you want to get it out, so that's not a good way of doing things. So there we go, I got a rag in there. There's the circlip. Oops, I'll give it a tap this way, and then we'll see what's going on with the rings. This is where you can break a ring. Okay, so there's the top ring, and I was wondering if it's a chrome ring, and that's why it didn't seat in the cast iron bore. And kind of hard to tell. Anyway, we'll take them all off. And the last one is the oil ring. Otherwise, the piston looks in good shape. So I've never opened these boxes yet, so let's see what we got. We got two different kinds. We got a Mile Master and a Hepalite. I've heard of Hepalite. Oh, a decal. So this is the top one. And there's your oil ring. So we're going to put the rings on now. Then we'll make a gasket. Then we'll find a shim to go under here to make sure that it's a good amount of squish. And these are going on very nicely. All right. So we're at well, it's 70 millimeters. So if we go down to 35, okay, that fitted pretty nice. Okay, see what I've done? It's a smaller gasket, this one on top. So I've tried to make it even around there, and I don't know, a little bit of success, but not great, because the holes are going to be really, really close. Working with these older bikes is not always easy. And I can always make it larger and then cut it smaller if I need to. Okay, so that's what it looks like. And you can see how the hole is very, very close there. I don't like that, but that's just it. That just is. Got a hole punch. You're going to see how this works. I'm going to space it out a little bit. Oh, that works. So you see how I'm spacing it out a little bit? I'm estimating. I can always open up the hole a little bit. Like that. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, that matches up quite nicely. And that fits quite well too, and that doesn't touch the gasket. So that looks good. So what we need to do now is to find a shim, because we have to raise it up. Okay, so this gasket is 7 thou. And the new gasket is 26. So we need a 20 thou shim. Look at all the Aramaki shims I've accumulated over the years. And I'm just wondering, is there a shim that'll fit right on without grinding and modifications? So these are shims from the shifter cam. Look at that. First shim I pull out. And the thickness is, what do we need, a 20 thou shim? Ooh, 37. Okay, but there's going to be more sizes here. So we got 37, 40, too muchy. 20 thou. And that look at that, it fits right on. I think the gods are shining on us today, Mitch. That's pretty cool that I can find a shim that fast. Off an Italian motorcycle going on a British bike. On the piston rings, what we have to do is to space them out. Do you see here how now they're all in line with each other? You don't want that, so what you do is to space them around. So that one goes over there, and this one goes over there. So they're sort of like 120 degrees apart. This is a lot easier than installing rings, having the piston, and then putting the barrel over top. So you can still break a ring, but if you're careful, it should be okay. Oh, look at that. Okay, so one ring's down. Second ring down. And just the oil ring down. There we go. Next is to put the wrist pin back in. I'm just heating up the bosses. That's the wrist pin bosses. Ooh. Okay. That's where this comes in handy. Oh! That wasn't good. Well, the rings went in easy. Let's see if I can put them on like this. That was not the plan. Okay. Going. Do that. Oh. Okay. Look at that. Okay. Okay. And circuits all the way around in the groove, so that's good. Okay, piston is oiled. I'll take this out. Okay, sealed. Okay, so next thing is to anneal the head gasket. Okay. Okay, one's on. Now on the other end, we're going to put on the shim, so we keep a bit of pressure on the rings, on the O-rings. Okay, a 20 thou shim. Look at that. Fits pretty nicely. I think it's in, Mitch. Amazing. All right, the head's back on. I have to set the tap bits, adjust the clutch, but that's just things that I knew I was going to have to do. Thank you for watching. Mitch and I like coffees. Please subscribe. See you next week. Probably next time we'll fire this up and check for smoke, check for clutch. Take care. Bye-bye.